All right, well, Eddie, as you well know, April 13th of this year is our 40th anniversary of operation of the ranch. And so I want to take this opportunity to just reflect for a moment and just ask you, what do you remember about that first day when the first boy arrived here on Eagle Ranch's property?
I was looking through some old calendars and saw that April 13th day, and the first boy's name was Scott, and he lived outside Athens. I think he was living with grandparents, and it was a Saturday, and in the afternoon I remember picking him up, and he was excited and nervous because he knew he was going to be the first kid at the ranch. And so it was about a 45-minute drive, and I remember just talking to him about what an opportunity this was for him. He's 13 years old, and back then there was just woods and gravel roads, and so we started, came off a public road, and we're going through woods and on these gravel roads, and he's going, "Oh my gosh, where am I going?" Sort of the middle of nowhere. But we pulled up to the first home. It was a faith home, and his two house parents, who were our first house parent couple, Tony and Tricia Detmeyer, were waiting for him on the front porch. And when Scott got out of my car and he walked across the yard and up the porch to Tony and Trish, I had sort of two thoughts. First of all, it felt like the end of a long journey, because I came here in July of '82, so it was almost 3 years. And so that was one thing. The other thing that I was just sort of overwhelmed with is as he walked in that home, I was struck about what a great privilege God has given us here to enter another person's story and make a difference, give them the opportunity to be all that they could be. And I was just over the one word that just kept coming. It was just a privilege. And then a week later, Mark and Mike moved in. Then a couple weeks later, Jason and Aaron and Efren and Ron.
Wow.
So we ended up having 8 children in our first home, the faith home, which it was aptly named because it was a journey of faith to get us to this point.
Wow.
So.
And I saw on the guest list, did Aaron end up making it to the ranch reunion on Saturday? So one of the first group of boys actually still in relationship and here with it's part of our ranch reunion on Saturday. Yeah,
and his youngest son was there, Riley. His other 2 boys, one is in med school, and the other, I believe, is a teacher. And Aaron and I had a really good talk. He and his middle son is having a grandchild. Wow! So in addition to making me feel really, really old.
Aaron's a granddad.
It's just amazing how at Eagle Ranch it never begins and ends with one child's life here. Yeah. It just is exponentially generational. And it just, and Aaron told me that, he said, "Eddie, because Eagle Ranch was here for me, my children's lives, their lives will never be the same, and their children's lives will never be the same." And it just started here in the faith home with Tony and Trish and Bruce Birch, who
I was going to ask if Bruce was there. Was Bruce there on that first day for that welcome?
Bruce was living in Atlanta. He was there the next day because I had it in my calendar. We sort of didn't, I don't know that we really knew what we were doing back then. So we had a lot of meetings in the early days. But Bruce, Bruce in a way was a founder. Gene, my first executive assistant, was a founder. Tony and Trish were founders. And everybody that has followed them are standing on their shoulders. And just like the people that are at Eagle Ranch today, John, those who follow will be standing on their shoulders,
Yeah.
because we're just always pioneering.
We are.
And so.
I think about too at least one person that was on your board at that time. David Salyers
Yeah.
was the person who introduced me to you and State. So there's so many through lines and just connections over the course of more than 40 years if you include you arriving here in July of '82, as you said. And so as I was reflecting on the founding story, and we still talk about and share and get a lot of requests for the On Eagle's Wings story that kind of captures our origin story, our founding story, and so it's been an honor to me to get to reflect on that and think about just God's faithfulness to the ranch, to you, to our staff, our board, obviously the children of families, and now even beyond children of families that we're serving through the Wing Center and the work you're leading here. But yeah, the final thing I wanted to share is that founding story on Eagle's Wings is we still have hardcover versions of it, but we actually just created a digital version and an audio version that was narrated by Eddie's wife, Kay-Ann. And so that is available now on Amazon, and I'm excited to just continue telling the story of bearing witness to God's faithfulness. That's so much bigger than the ranch, but in a very particular way. You've got an opportunity to watch for over 40 years of watching him do that miracle work, and in my now 3.5 years getting to bear witness to that incredible continued work. So it's been an honor to.